Hello everyone and welcome back, and in today's video I'm going to be covering and giving my opinions on the recent devblog from Path of Titans. Anyway, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. So, this devblog covers some new things that we got in this update and some things that we haven't got yet. To start off with, let's cover what they covered quickly that we already got, which was the new aquatic critters, which something I did not even know about them is some of them can go from land and water like seamlessly. The aquatic critters, I mean, can do that, which I didn't know. So the ones that can do this is the crocodile-looking one and the ichthyosaga. They can both go from land to water pretty easily. And I think that is that's fantastic. The ones with legs can do that. I love it. It's brilliant. And also, we got some distant calls in the update as well. We had Tyrant Titans, we got Barsboldia, T-Rexes, Eotrikes, and Dinocarises, I believe, are the 4 new ones we got. So all the apexes have been done, and what Alderon said in their dev blog is that they're moving down. So they did the apexes. Next up is sub-apexes and mid-tiers like Allosaurus, Suchomimus, Iguanodon, I believe. Those are going to be some of the next ones. Daspletosaurus is also mixed in there, which I think is pretty cool. Now, something to take note of is they even said this in the dev blog, is that the distant calls, they're not made to be realistic. They are simply just made to sound cool and sound similar to the regular dinosaurs, which is why they sound similar but not insane, not the same, but they sound similar rather than just being a echo of noise. Because if you shout, it eventually loses consistency over a long course of distance and becomes a loud noise. But they didn't want that, which I can respect that. I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, next that we have to go through are the new foliage and quests. And to start off with, I think it's best to go through the new quests before the foliage. So this includes pushing logs over, scratching against logs, and also a new moss collection quest, which, pretty cool. So let's just get into these. The new log quests, I'm not gonna lie, I found them a little bit odd when I first saw them. They make sense, but they're a bit odd. And I didn't think they would be considered as quests, more so just passive things to do around the map. But here we are, where they're considered quests. I don't know if I don't know if they'll be traditional quests where you get marks or something from it, maybe growth. I'm not sure. But if you do, then that's great. That gives you an actual purpose to doing it, other than the reasons why you normally would. Because Alderon said that, let's say you want to push a log over to cross either a canyon or water, this is a good idea. I think this is good because let's say I'm something small that's not too good at swimming or too good at jumping, and I want to cross this gap. I don't know, maybe it's a canyon in Stego Mountain or a little stream that something has fit into somehow, like a Sarco. Let's say I want to cross that. Well, what you could do is you could push the log over. I don't know how this is done, whether it's you press a button or if you run at it. I don't know. Maybe an attack. I don't know. But you would basically push the log over, hop on, and use it to cross, which I think is pretty cool. I will say something about this, however. Let's say I'm a good example. I'm a Campto, horrible survival when it comes to falling. Campto takes a lot of fall damage. So let's say I'm a Campto, and I fall, or I'm crossing this canyon. Couldn't a Hatzegopteryx simply just push me off? Isn't that something that can happen? I just get pushed off by a Hatzegopteryx whilst I'm crossing. I'm pretty sure that is possibly going to happen, and Alderon themselves haven't really taken that into account, I don't think. Which is a bit odd. But then we also have the scratching one, which again, I don't see too much of a purpose other than it being a quest reward. But let's say I want to, I don't know, let's say I'm trying to find another Eotrike, and I'm also an Eotrike. What I could do is I could scratch against this log. Now, I don't know if the scratch markings are individual for, let's say, Styrak or Alberta or Trike or whatever scratches. I don't know if they're going to have different markings, so you could be like, oh, I know what's been here. It's a Triceratops, not a Trike, it's been an Eotrike that's gone here because of the scratch marks. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. It might just be a one set of scratch marks, no matter what, carnivores and herbivores alike. But let's say it's not, and let's say you can tell what is scratching where. I could be an eotrike, scratch against this log, and then another eotrike could see that and be like, "Oh, family, friends," and then try and stay or look around or try and find where you went. That could be quite cool. But you could also do this as kind of a way to get people to fight or even leave you alone. So you could be like, again, I'm just going to use eotrike as an example. You could be an eotrike, and then you could scratch against it. Let's say a dasp walks along. A dasp is going to see that scratch and be like, "Nah, I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting an eotrike." So then it would back away. But then you could also have something like a T-Rex show up and be like, "Oh, the scratch marks on this log. I'm going to use it to fight. I want to fight." So it could then use those scratchings to see if there's prey or anything nearby. Which again, I think that's a super cool idea. Like, could you imagine that? That would be such like the most natural way of a T-Rex stalking an Eotrike or anything big, even like a Bars Bolidia. Like if bars can even scratch, but that would still be incredibly cool. I think that's a pretty good idea. And the final thing to do with quests is pretty simple to look over. It's simply just the moss. Now, this moss would act like a normal collection quest, I think, from what they described. So, like, collect 25 tiger nuts, or collect 25 salt rocks, or 35 rocks, or 20 mushrooms. It's just a normal collection quest. However, the rock design, I don't know if they're just updating the textures or something, but the rock design itself looks more like a coastal or aquatic type rock, something you'd see near like the reef or the warmer looking oceans. I don't know. Maybe that's just the type of rock. It might just be a normal rock. I don't know. We have got new foliage and visual effects. So, let's start with the small bushes, which is the new foliage, by the way. So, when you go inside of them, they're basically transparent. Like, they're clear, you can see outside of them when you're inside. But from the outside, they're still very dense. Now, that sounds really complicated. Let me simplify it. From the outside, you cannot see inside of them. When you're inside of them, you can see outside of them. Yes, make it as simple as that. And they will spawn on like coasts, not coasts, riverbanks and the sides of lakes and stuff like the shore of lakes. And it's basically Outrun's way of making it easier for smaller playables to drink safely. So stuff like Struthiomimus or Camptosaurus. I nearly said Camptosuchus, but Camptosaurus or the Latin or Dinon, something like that. Something that's easily killable by the water's edge. They can go into these bushes. They'll be able to see if there's anything near them, and then they'll be able to safely drink. And because you can't see it from inside the bush when you're outside, stuff like I don't know predators like Sarco or Spino, they might not notice you in there. But here's a small fault I've figured out. Because this game is third person camera, you could simply just precise turn and hold it so you're underneath the water, and then move your camera around without moving your dino, and then look inside of the bush to see if there's anything there. And that takes away all practicality of the bush completely because now you can just use them to camp because there probably will be a higher chance of a player being in them. Which I think is it just defeats the whole purpose. But still, it's cool. I'm excited because this type of bush, I think the way Alderaan showed it off, we should have had this in the game from the start. I think it's pretty cool. It definitely, I don't know. There's just something about being able to see whilst inside of a bush that's pretty nice. It's better than just like crouching in all of these 3D bushes that you clip into. Next up, though, after that, we have got some new visual effects. So, first off, we have got some smokestacks. Now, these will appear in the ocean, I think, and they're just like a visual thing. I don't think they do anything, they're just cool. And then insect swarms, which will go on like corpses and stuff. I think it's only spawn corpses for now, but it might be all corpses after. Anyway, moving on to what is possibly the largest critter to be added into Path of Titans, the Tannis. Now, this is, I believe, a semi-aquatic, and it's insanely long. It has a huge neck, which puts Amaga and Kai to shame. They have got nothing on this guy. This guy is all length. It literally is more than half of his body in neck length, and it's ridiculous. But I think this is more than just a new critter. I have a feeling because it's so large, it's Aldron kind of testing the waters if whether they should add dinosaur critters or maybe just larger non-playable AI to the game. Because that's basically what this thing is, if it's as big as I think it will be. It could be tiny. I really hope it isn't, but it looks big. It looks like it's on par with maybe some 2 slots, larger than 1 slot. But I don't know. I'm quite excited for it. It's definitely going to be new a new opportunity for the game, I think. Anyway, that is going to be everything from the new devlog. We've covered the new quests, distant calls, new critters, foliage, and hopefully all of this comes to Path of Titans very, very soon. I like new things in a video game. That makes me happy. Anyway, so if you have enjoyed this video or you found it informative or you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, and also join my Discord, which is in the description below. And leave a comment on whether you want all of these features in Path of Titans, or if there's anything that they haven't added yet that you would really want. Leave a comment down below mentioning that. And anyway, have a wonderful day, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.